All right, let's talk Miami Hurricanes. Obviously, a lot of drama when it comes to the college football playoff, but you still always have to be focused on recruiting. And to that end, Miami has done an incredible job pulling off a massive recruiting win. We'll get to the details on that, plus some interesting data as always. But first, I'm Nick. That is Andrew, and this is Saturday Morning Inspection. All right, this Miami Hurricanes team, listen, there's a college football playoff drama. We all get that. And I think we all agree that Miami is a playoff team. I think that's undeniable. The question is whether the committee will see it that way or not. That's a discussion for another day because we have massive recruiting news and a really solid, again, under the radar job done by the Miami Hurricanes. Let's pull up the news here first, courtesy of Gio Milan on X. He posted Miami has signed 27 of their 29 commitments this morning. The remaining commits that remain unsigned: defensive lineman Isaac Chukwura and defensive lineman Frederick Santias, and both of them later signed after this post. So they locked everybody down. There was no surprises. There was no drama. There was no big media attention. There was no, like, for example, Ohio State with their star receiver, Chris Henry Jr. He suddenly decided, listen, I'm not going to sign, right? He was going to go to Ohio State like for months and months and months and months. Suddenly he's like, I don't know if I'm going to go here. There was none of that with Miami. Methodical, easy, relaxing, kick your feet up, check every box, get all 29 guys locked and loaded. Again, that's what recruiting should be. Take care of business, right? You don't want drama when you're adding players. You don't want drama with recruiting. You don't want drama with transfers, right? You want the drama when you have competition, when you have position battles, when you're trying to figure out, who's going to be your starter, who's going to be your number three receiver, your number three corner, whatever it may be. You don't want drama when you're adding players. You want to be methodical, deliberate. Target players that you want on your program, get them to commit, and get them to sign on the line that is dotted. That's what Miami did. A-plus job. But they did more than that in some ways because they exceeded expectations with a massive flip. If you want to pull up that next post, Mize, courtesy of Hayes Fawcett. It was a great follow on X, by the way, if you're looking for great recruiting news. He posted breaking: four-star linebacker Karsten Bush has committed to Miami. He tells me for at Rivals. 6'2", 230-pound linebacker was previously committed to Louisville. I'm fired up to be part of the U. Obviously, big news for Miami. This is a massive flip because if you look at a guy like Bush, he is a quality linebacker, four-star. I actually think that's underselling a little bit. I think his potential is just absolutely outstanding. I think he's going to be a guy that comes and joins this Miami defense. And I don't know if he's going to be a day one player, but he'll grow into a really nice player for this defense for a very long time. He's a high motor guy, physical guy, and the fact that they were to flip him from an ACC rival in Louisville, again, Louisville, good team, good program. Coach Brom, good coach. Nice job by Cristobal. Nice job by this Miami coaching staff getting it done there, pulling off a surprising win. Again, when it came time to check the boxes and get the guys they already secured, A+ there, no drama. And the only move they made, the only change they made was in the positive direction with a massive recruiting flip. Again, phenomenal work. It's an underrated element to winning at the college football level in this day and age with NIL dollars and transfers and all of that. But getting guys that are committed, getting them to commit, step one, and getting them to sign on the line that is dotted, as I like to say, is so important, but it's so overlooked, right? How many times, and we saw this today, we see this going back years and decades, where these kids, I'm committed and then I decommit, or like I'm committed and then, I sign with this other team, right? Or there's some drama or there's some confusion and coaches are waiting by the phone, right? Okay, did he sign with us? Did he choose us? No, he didn't. Okay, we got to go somewhere else. None of that with Miami. Very buttoned up, very just methodical, deliberate. Okay, here are our players we're targeting. Let's go get them. Let's get them done. Let's get them to sign. And they did to a man. Again, great job there by Cristobal. And to put a final bow on this, there's a post here that I want to pull up, Miles, if you don't mind, courtesy of Gabby Uratia. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. There's still time left in the early signing period, but Miami will undoubtedly sign the top-ranked recruiting class in the ACC for the fourth consecutive cycle. The gap between the Hurricanes and next best class in the conference isn't close. Again, this speaks to what Miami is doing. They're not just going out getting the low-tier guys. Not to be mean to these high school kids, I was a no-star recruit. So again, I'm not demeaning any one of these recruits. They're a whole lot better at football than I ever was. So 2-3-star guys, you crushed me. So again, I'm not trying to demean anybody there. But the reality is you can get a simple, methodical, easy class if you're Miami. If you get a bunch of 2 and 3 stars, obviously. You'll get some 2 and 3-star kids to commit and sign them, no problem, right? But they're getting top flight guys. They're getting the best class in the conference. Now, I know a lot of people will be out there saying in the comment section, I can hear you guys now, well, they're not even good enough to get to the ACC championship game. And listen, I get it. Those concerns are valid, right? But we're seeing back-to-back 10-win seasons for the first time in decades for Miami. They're trending in the right direction. A big part of that is talent, right? It takes a bunch of cycles to figure it out. It really does. This is the fourth straight cycle. What we've only really started to see the rewards of that the past 2 seasons. So theoretically, next year it'll be nothing but the top players in the ACC from a recruiting perspective for Miami, and the same thing the following year. So this isn't a Hurricanes team that's going away, right? Regardless of what happens with the playoff and all of that. And I think Miami's a playoff team, but we'll have to see what the committee thinks. I think the Hurricanes are here to stay in terms of the top of college football contention. I think obviously disappointing finishes to the last 2 seasons. It seems to be at this point, obviously holding on hope that the committee gets it right. But they've got the talent, they've got the recruiting base, and they're just going out about it the right way, methodical, deliberate, and executing. This is what smart organizations do. This is what high quality organizations do. Whether it's a business, a charity, an NFL franchise, or a college football program, methodical, buttoned up, deliberate, executing at a high level, great operational execution, great, awareness. They didn't have anything slip through the cracks. They didn't have any surprises, no drama. Outstanding work by this Hurricanes program. And I think that's why, regardless of what happens over the next couple of weeks, this Hurricanes program is still on the right track.
Yeah, and again, I think you covered a lot of great stuff. Just a couple things I want to go over that I see when I'm looking at this Hurricanes class. One, dominated the state of Florida. They're able to get 14 guys out of the state of Florida. We probably talked about this before, but I think it's crucial. Cristobal, Florida, a really big state, a lot of good teams. You got Florida State, you got the Florida Gators in there. You got a lot of teams you're recruiting against and go out and get a really great class, but to have 14 guys come out of your home state, I think is really, really good. And they dominated regionally as well, getting guys out of North Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, Kentucky, Kansas, Missouri, all from the Southeastern Conference region. Done a really great job. So I think this is like ideal recruiting class. Actually, Mario Cristobal came on and said this is his deep and most talented recruiting class he has gotten since he has been at the U. And one other thing is, I think one thing that divides Miami from some of the other top tier teams is what they have in the trenches. They really have they've been working towards something. I think they're almost there. They just need a little bit to push them over the edge. And in recruiting classes like this are what get you there. They got 6 offensive linemen with 5 guys that are in the top 4 5-star guys across the offensive line in this class. You got 7 defensive linemen, and 3 of those defensive linemen were top 4 5-star guys in that class as well. So a lot of talent in the trenches for Miami, something I think that they need to go after and really do a good job with. And they did that. They did just that, and I think they did a great job. And one thing they've been doing really well, getting top-tier DBs. They got 6 DBs in this class, so they kept doing something they've been doing really well. So overall, really great job by Miami. I think this is a good class. I think they've checked off a lot of boxes. Like you said, I hope the committee does right by them, gets them into the playoff. This team very deserving of what they've done this year, is very special. But nonetheless, this team, the future is looking bright. Another great recruiting class under Mario Cristobal's belt.
Yeah, and it's one thing to not discount is the ability to consistently recruit year in and year out, right? Because you can have Texas A&M under Jimbo Fisher, for example, where you're great one year, down the next, right? Or you can have an LSU under Kelly before he got fired, where great one year, not so good the next. Cristobal is consistent, methodical, deliberate, again, doing a great job operating the program at a high level, and that's what consistently wins, right? If you have program success, operational excellence, you will win in the long term. I know we're all focused on the short term and what are you going to do this season? What are you going to do next week? And obviously that's the goal, is to win as many games as possible and to win a national title. But in the long term, medium and long term, this Hurricanes program is doing an outstanding job setting themselves up for success. And I'm excited to see what the future holds.